Hello everyone and welcome back to Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, where even the judge is calling us Air Forehead, or at least was about to, but at least he's going to let us do our cross-examination. Great going, Apollo. You were right about Lamoire. What's wrong? You don't look too happy. This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. Right, yeah, like why is she hiding that? What I saw too. You know, the sequel's never as good as the original. That's probably not true. Press! So you were heading toward the dressing room. Yes. So this is a little before she opened the dressing room door and dropped her brooch. About the same time Emma and I heard those shots. I was on my way back. Like a little window. I don't remember that. What exactly is something like a little window? Yes, well, window is the best word I know in English. And this is how it is said, yes? You need not worry, Lamoire. Your choice of words is impeccable. There is a small window in the dressing room in question. Perhaps the defense remembers this detail. That little window on the wall. Oh yeah, that. I assume that's where the shots were fired through. I saw the crime from there. You're certain you heard 2 shots fired? Yes, quite certain. I was on my way to the backstage exit. This was when I heard a faint sound, like a gunshot. Gunshots usually aren't faint, though. Wondering what it had been, I peered through the window. That was when I heard the second gunshot, much closer. And there were 2 bullet holes on the scene. No contradictions so far. It all happened on the other side of that window. There's nothing I could do. Oh. It wasn't Maki you shot, are you sure? Yes, quite certain. It amuses me that she would question her testimony. It is a testimony in her favor. Isn't it my job to object? Yeah, Apollo, what were you thinking? Trucy, let's just listen to what Lamoire has to say. Can you tell me how you were sure? Yes, of course, you see. How do you know, though? A grown person. That's a little vague. I'm sorry. My skill with your language is lacking, I know. Certainly you could at least see whether the shooter was male or female. He was a man, a young man. Are you sure of that? Yes, his voice was quite clear. Voice? Yeah, what'd he say? Looking at this diagram, it seems the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely you wouldn't have had a clear view of the shooter. As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. When I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man. So you're the voice, but wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latouche? Absolutely not. Did I not just say that I do not forget a voice? If it was Mr. Latouche who spoke, I would have known. Indeed. So you're at the window and you heard the shooter's voice, the voice of a young man. Apollo, this is good testimony. That proves it wasn't Maki. Indeed. If this turns out to be true, that would cast this case in considerably different light. What is the defense's opinion of this testimony? Ooh, it's pretty good or it's contradictory. I want to go with it's pretty good because it helps us, but also I want to go with it's contradictory because I know how these games freaking work. Alright. She didn't mention hearing a voice though, so I feel like there's a contradiction. Right? Well, no, I don't need the attorney's badge. Lyric sheet. Postcard. What is contradictory though? Like there's so many things we haven't looked at. Keyring. Death due to loss of blood from a gunshot wound. Oh, wait. I want to go back to the gun. Because didn't we like kind of figured out that a kid wouldn't be able to shoot that gun, so maybe this is good testimony. Can't really do much with that. Maybe I say it's good. Like I said, if like a normal situation, I'd be sitting there like listening like, oh yeah, that like all of that makes sense. Okay. And like there's a lot to back that up. But because it's a game and because I know how these games work, I'm questioning it. But what do I have? It's missing something. Like, contradictory or not, it's missing something. Oh wait, I keep forgetting about profiles. Oh my god. That surely won't come back to haunt me. Oh, 14, okay. Oops, wrong way. That was weird. Why did it keep going that way? Oh, I see. Okay. It was weird. I was like tapping on the side and it was going right instead of left. Maybe I go with it for now, because it does help. Maybe I go with it for now. Well, I'd have to say it's pretty good. Vital even. This shows that the shooter wasn't Maki. Ah, crap. Surely you can't be serious there, Forehead. Why not? Lemoir, I understand why you would want to protect Maki, yet remember you are the siren of the ballad. And lies do not become such a creature. What does the prosecution mean? Apollo, what's he talking about? How come no one bats an eye when he says stuff like that? I recall the state of the crime scene quite well. The state of the room. Yes, and when the murder took place. That window was closed, was it? Why? I don't remember that. Oops. I find it hard to believe you could hear a voice through. Oh, I understand. Okay. What? But I am sure. Lemoir, I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense, but my opinion of you as a witness is somewhat lesser. But she's the only eyewitness we have. So you say. Is the victim named her the siren as the witness? That's right. That's what Mr. Latouche. We heard your claim. We even entertained the possibility, and that brought us to this. Judge? Yes? The prosecution requests the witness be excused. Please. I'm afraid I must honor the prosecution's request. Why? There is indeed a question of the witness's credibility. Yeah, I can't argue that. But if Lemoir can't testify, then we don't have a chance of proving Maki's innocence. This cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Gavin. Oh, I hope I didn't screw up. You may continue making your case. Dank. Now where were we? Ah, yes, I would like to hear from Fräulein Detective again. Wait, let me hear Lemoir's testimony one last time. The cross-examination is already over. Until such a time as a need arises. This witness may leave the stand. Crap.
I'm sorry I could not be of more assistance.
Ooh, you know something. Help us. It's less. Back to the real trial. Ready, air forehead. Hope I didn't just miss my only chance. Oh, me too. Fräulein Detective, how far had we gotten until we were so rudely interrupted?
Don't ask me.
Oops. I dislike saying the same thing twice, and I never repeat the song for an encore. If you would, Miss Sky.
I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latusse's killer could have escaped was through that air vent in the ceiling.
Ah, yes, there was only one door in that room. And a witness, you was standing in front of it.
That air vent isn't very big, see? Kind of limits the people who could possibly get through.
I certainly would have a difficult time.
You sure would. That you would have been there in the first place, though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved with the concert. The only one who meets the conditions for our killer is the defendant.
A virtuoso performance. I couldn't have put it better myself. She does state a clear case. Reading the report, something caught my eye.
Oh, what was that?
The circumstances of the defendant's arrest.
The circumstances? Again? Hey, that's right, Apollo. Remember when we found Maki? That was bizarre.
Yeah, that is weird. She's right.
Why did Mr. Latusse's body disappear from the room and end up on top of the stage tower, holding a guitar no less?
A perceptive observation, Air Judge. Thanks. It was kind of an accident, really. But you work at this job long enough, and you get a nose for these things.
Oops. The judge sure seems pleased with himself.
Very good, Fräulein Detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved? And how does that lead us to the killer? Uh-oh. The missing body, okay.
I believe Maki stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match Lemuel's song. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim, and Maki practically left his signature at the scene.
Ooh.
All this evidence clearly points to the defendant.
Well, that's not much to work with. Lemuel's song? Alright, I gotta go back over that. Yes, the guitar serenade. You noticed its code too, did you not? Its code? All evidence that they point the lyrics to our song. Oh, there we go. First, the keys my heart held onto so tightly were stolen. Then Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Latusse's life was taken by a bullet. The rest hardly needs explanation. No, guitar, up together to the sky. That's mad. It's like a story out of some fairy tale.
Yeah, that's kind of my opinion. I admit I'd forgotten about the song, but there it is now, waiting for me, the grand finale, as it were. Hey, I was the one who first noticed that.
I've heard of jumping rope to songs and counting to songs, but killing? It's a wild world out there, Air Judge. Very well. We've heard one song and danced. Let's get on to the next, the cross-examination.
Not so sure I'm going to be doing much singing. Chords of steel, man. You got this. I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing on this. All right. Let's just press. Who would steal a body just to match some lyrics? I didn't believe it myself, but it can't just be a coincidence.
It is as Fräulein Detective says. Let us begin with the first verse, if you would, Fräulein Detective.
If what? You want me to sing it?
You are the witness, yeah? Or did you want me to sing? I warned you, my fee as a vocalist is not trivial.
Fine. Let's look at the first part of the lyrics. Oh my god, she's gonna sing the whole thing. That's probably not gonna happen. As you can tell, I'm not feeling too up to that. When you stole away the keys to my heart held onto so tight.
Indeed, my favorite heart-shaped keyring was stolen that morning.
Next, we go to the right page of the lyric sheet, where we find, burning on in my heart, fire, burn my love away, all away. As we know, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames. Like a bullet of love, fire, take my life away, all away. Mr. Latuse's life was taken by a bullet. Bravo, Fraulein Detective, your singing is not bad. Now for the finale. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. As it says in the lyrics, Mr. Latouche was found with the guitar high in the sky over the stage. No series of coincidences could have been so well conceived. He's right, scientifically speaking. What would Waki have said? The concert was whack. It's hard to argue when she pours her heart into it like that. Anyway, the shooter... Oh, we're like... Oh yeah, by the way, we're doing a trial thing, just in case you were wondering. Does the prosecution have any idea why he'd do all this? You want my scientific opinion? No clue. But he clearly had a reason to go through all that trouble. Some deep reason. A deep reason? But not only did he steal my keys, he torched my guitar. Unforgivable acts, even if he had a reason, and worse if he had none. The diva's complaints aside, I can't imagine why someone doing this just on a whim. Fraulein Detective, I take offense at the description. Indeed, it does seem too well rehearsed, shall we say? Yeah, she's not wrong. Yes, this crime was planned for sure. Is that true, though? But Mr. Latouche spoke English. He may have come to this country before. I looked into that, I assure you. Oh? It was his first time in the country, it seems. Apparently he learned English on his own. Great. You see, no one here had the motive to kill him, and he's certainly not in such an elaborate fashion. It does seem difficult to imagine. Unless our famous prosecutor did it as a publicity stunt. What did you say? Well, Prosecutor Gavin, you did this to promote your song? Of course not, and I'm quite dismayed by the ludicrous nature of your claim. Why would I need promotion? Everyone already listens to my music. They're even in my textbook at school. That's awesome. Honestly, that wouldn't even be that weird. If anyone's played the Earthbound or the Mother series, there's like a main theme of the game that's like, I think like 8 notes long. And it's actually taught in schools in Japan, or at least it was for a while. So, I buy it. And I'd never heard of them. What does that say about me? I was just kidding. Don't get all worked up, Glimmer Boy. Alright, what? I don't understand that, actually. What do you mean by his signature? The bullet holes in the wall, of course. The bullet holes. The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall. Wait, but there's 2 holes in the wall. That means what exactly? The dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim there. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would have been difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range. Difficult to miss, you say? Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim. No, you can't be serious. Maki, he can't see. That's why he missed? It's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and other senses to fire the gun. Poorly. That reminds me, the monitor in the room was blaring at the time, yeah? Hardly ideal conditions for tracking by sound. Blind shooter. No wonder he missed. I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think justice, what would I do now? Raise an objection, I don't even know what. We're gonna do it. Sure, there were bullet holes left in the wall. But that doesn't prove the shooter couldn't see. Oh, how so? Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim. That's certainly possible. And it might have been the revolver's fault. The revolver? It's hard to fire. The revolver was a very large caliber, correct? If the shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon, why could dislocate their shoulder? Exactly. The defendant, Maki Tobai, is, as you can see, tiny. It's not so hard to picture him firing the gun and missing entirely. The kickback alone would throw off his aim. Wait, I like to take that back. Oh,
A convincing argument to be sure.
haha, take that, smug prosecution, as we prove their case. Oh my god. I have no words. I have nothing. Apollo? Huh? What? That bit about Maki being tiny and the gun throwing off his aim? Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it? Oh. It doesn't matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was without a doubt the defendant. Even the defense seems to agree on that point. Apollo, you dolt. Cripes, I really put my foot in it this time. Yeah, but let's get to the facts of the matter on the records, if you would, Fraulein's detective. Oh wait, oops.
Very well, the witness will add this to your testimony.
Right. From the state of the crime scene, I conclude the shooter was blind. Ah! Okay. Oh, I think I know where this is going. You can't say he was blind just because of those bullet holes in the wall. No, come at it from the other angle. I think I've proven that. I wouldn't call it proof, per se. Huh. You merely raised a possibility. Fraulein detective has made the most logical conjecture based upon the evidence. Of course, there's more evidence than just the bullet holes. The defendant was the only one who could have escaped through the air vent. But wait, if he was blind, how would he know about the air vent in the first place? Ah, very good point. Well, Fraulein detective, if you would care to explain. Certainly seems sure of himself. Call the crime scene if you would. Okay. There was a stepladder below the air vent. As it happens, maintenance was scheduled for that day. Custodial staff went around checking all the air vents. I don't believe it. Everyone backstage was told about the maintenance, including Maki Tobai. You would have known that there would be a way out at the top of the stepladder. But why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? You could have figured it out for yourself. You only need to consider what the stepladder was doing there. Oh, wait.
It looks like the defendant's objection has been squished by a stepladder.
Well, air forehead, out of ammunition perhaps. I've never seen Prosecutor Gavin so aggressive. Maybe he's caught the scent of blood. Apollo, don't you have something, anything? You know what we need? We need something to prove the killer could see. That'll put him in his place. Or, if we could prove Maki could see, then does that throw their whole thing off? That's where proving the shooter was sighted would do it. No, prove Maki is sighted. That's gotta be it. That would take down one of their central points. Do I have any evidence that I can prove it? I've got just the thing. Fine, I accept the prosecution's challenge. It's as I knew you would there, forehead. What exactly am I up against here? The prosecution is saying the shooter missed because he or she couldn't see. Therefore, Maki, who's blind, did it.
The defense will please present their evidence. Evidence that overturns the prosecution's claim that the shooter couldn't see.
I have nothing. I'd like to bail on this now if I could. I was, judge, friend, pal. I was bluffing. I kind of got nothing. Murder weapon and I have nothing. Mixing board doesn't help. Key ring. Like, what does that prove? Wait, how would he have gotten it, though? I don't think I actually have anything. I'd like to bail on this whole thing. Evidence that overturns the prosecution's claim. I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing. I don't want to push this to another episode, but like, this is like a sleep on it thing. I think I screwed up. I think I was just supposed to let that go. Well, we're gonna take a hit. I'm gonna present this. This is that evidence.
Photograph of the crime scene.
I don't care much for the smirk on the prosecutor Gavin's face, but this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. There's something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point. Then perhaps you best show us this something. Get your finger out of the breeze and put it to good use, yeah?
Very well, show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice. The contradiction at the crime scene is...
I don't know. I'm surprised. I didn't expect to make it this far. We've certainly bluffed our way pretty good. I have two ideas. Oh my god, no, I know what the idea is. The contradiction is right here. The smeared bloodstains, yes. Oh my god, how did I not pick up on that? I did have something the whole time. Because they wrote something. I can't make out what it is, but if the killer had seen Lettuce write something in blood, they would have gotten rid of it.
I thought it was just my blurry vision, but it really was blurry. The way the victim's hand is raised above his head, much like a gesture I've seen many times in this court.
It's almost as if he wrote something. Aha, I get it. At least I think I get it. You get what, Fraulein. When Mr. Lettuce was shot, he tried to write something. And what would he write but the shooter's name? And what would he write it in but his own blood? Pretty good, huh? Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here.
That does seem to be a distinct possibility.
Oh, so he did smear it. The victim wrote the killer's name. Certainly a logical conclusion. Drat, I just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that.
Of course it's rubbed out. Why, if I were the killer?
Thank you.
I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind.
Neither would I. There we go. No one has anything else to say?
About what?
So the prosecution accepts this. You agree this was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer. And the killer tried to rub the name out. What's your point? What's my point? Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name? Well, Mr. Lettuce was writing something in blood. Once the killer saw that, it was... Wait.
Ha! Once he saw what it was,
But what did you just testify about the shooter? I said they were blind. Yet the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer had to have been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise? May I remind the court that the defendant, Maki Tobai, is blind. I thought he wasn't. That's where I thought they were going. He couldn't have been the shooter. Impossible. Got him.
Order, order, order. Yeah, Prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what this means. I mean, looking at this photo, it seems quite clear the shooter could see. Yet up until now...
It seems I owe the court an apology. The Gaviners are a band with law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred. During our concert, apparently this caused some confusion over jurisdiction. What? Oh, don't even start with me. Oh, get out of here. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner. I'm not sure I like the vibe I'm getting here. Hey, Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that? Like he knows something we don't. And he's about to tell us. I've got an idea. Let's rock. With these documents. But before that, I have a question for the Fraulein detective, if I may. What? Tell me. Why do you think that Tamaki Tobai is blind? Huh? What did he say? Oh, uh-oh. Oh no, this is even worse. So we proved the shooter could see. But now Gavin's about to tell us that Maki can see. Oh my god, I love this. I love and hate this. We're gonna pick this up in the next episode. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.